Hey everyone, how you doing? Welcome back to JOECMDRAWZ. Welcome back to a new video. Today in this video I'm going to be sharing a new member of the Goldielock Pirates. I'm continuing the series of creating my own One Piece pirate crew. So today I'll be introducing the second member of the crew, the financer of the crew, Black Oil Blake. Stick around to find out more about him. Okay, so to start things off with, I've just got some initial sketches here that I want to show you. I didn't really know what I wanted to do when starting out doing this character. I had a bunch of other ideas written down before getting to this final idea, and these are just some initial sketches when I actually got to that idea, but I just want to talk about like what my thought process was. So when creating a new member, I was trying to figure out like what I wanted to do. I didn't want them to be exactly kind of like the same as the Straw Hats, because that's just boring. You know, this is my crew. I wanted to kind of figure out all the different kind of like members of the crew and what their job would be, and I'm like, okay, well, what even race is this new character going to be? And I bounced back and forth between the different ideas. Do I want to do another human? Do I do a man, a woman? Do I want to do somebody from the mink tribe? Do I want to do like a giant, a fish man? There's a bunch of different races in One Piece that I think are really, really cool. And I was just looking through the list, and initially I wanted to do a mink. I wanted to do something different though, because from looking at all the different members of the mink tribe, there's dogs, cats, deers, bunnies, a lot of like these foresty creatures, and no matter how much I looked, I couldn't find any kind of like members of the mink tribe that were actually like snakes or serpentine in nature. I mean, there have been snakes in One Piece, like that giant snake, and then there's the snake that Bo Hancock has, and obviously the sisters that have the snake fruits, but they're not like true snakes that are like from the mink tribe. And so I was like, oh, that'd be really cool. And so I was trying to look for like different kind of like snake breeds and snake different type of snakes. I thought maybe King Cobra, that'd be kind of interesting. And then I remembered that a while ago I saw an image of a two-headed snake, and I thought that would make a really cool character. It's kind of like ostracized two-headed snake from the mink tribe that was kicked out for being mutated. And I think that'd be really cool. And then like each head, maybe one of each of them could eat a devil fruit, and you know, they could have different devil fruits that could be combined to make different powers. But I tried a bunch of different sketches, and I just couldn't figure out how to make the idea work. Even though I think the idea is really, really cool, and I don't think there's any two-headed characters in One Piece. I don't think, or you know, any characters that have that kind of like that kind of thing. You know, like there's like one character but there's two heads, so that but they're separate people, you know, or separate creatures or whatever. And I don't think there was anything like that, but I just couldn't figure out how to make it work, unfortunately. So I ended up reshifting my brain around and trying to look for something else, and I thought, okay, let's do another humanoid person then, because I'm pretty good at doing them. And I thought, well, what kind of person are they going to be? And so I was just looking through like occupations or jobs or whatever. I thought maybe I could have like maybe some sort of like knight, or kind of like European knight, or maybe a samurai from Wano, or you know, something like that. But I eventually stumbled on you know, like these like big Texan kind of like oil billionaires. I thought that would make a really cool kind of like character. So I've just got these initial sketches here. You know, you see he's got like this big kind of like Texan hat here. He's got kind of like the belly symbol on his hat there. He's got this kind of like big wide face of this like rough kind of like kind of facial hair, the big chin here. I thought that looks really cool. You know, you could have like these diamond studded earrings. Maybe you could have like you know, his hat is made of like solid gold or something, you know, something really cool like that. So these are just some initial sketches, trying to figure out what I want to do with him. I knew I wanted him to be quite big and quite large. You know, he's maybe quite wealthy, and maybe his whole thing is making as much money as possible. And so I thought that would be really, really cool. So these are just three initial sketches here. I do like all of them at some point. Like, I like this guy, how it's kind of sketchy, and he's kind of like looks very nonchalant, and his big hat there, I think looks cool. This guy, he's got like the big wide chin here, and he's got this kind of like angry demeanor and the flat head. And then this guy looks really cool. You know, he's got the wide ears. He's got kind of like these classic One Piece-ish eyes. He's got like this big hooked nose. this like slick back hair. So I really like that. So there's elements of all these that I really like. So if I show you these developed sketches now, these are some more of the like developed sketches that I've done. As you can see, I've kind of gone with more of that wide-ish face, trying to figure out what I want to do with it. Like, I like this one as well. Like, I like his eyebrows that are a bit weird, you know, kind of like Sanji's eyebrows are like spirals. I like the fact that he's like chewing on a cigarette. I like his big nose, his big hooked nose. It's something, you know, key elements to make him stand out from a different, just or a generic One Piece character. And he's got this big mouth, you know, he's got this belly tattoo, you know. I still wanted to keep that, so he's got like this tattoo of the belly symbol just under his ear. He's got like these earrings, this slick back hair that I've kept. And this one, the rough facial hair. This one I've changed up his hairstyle, maybe he's got like this fade on the side here, and this like top bit here. He's got some like long lashes here, maybe with some like a mole. And then maybe he's just got like a mustache here instead of just like a beard combo maybe. This one is just kind of like a more flatter, kind of like a wider variation of the other two. Just trying to figure out what I'm doing, trying to figure out what I'm doing with this nose as well. So, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was just trying to experiment in what I was doing. Excuse me. So yeah, I didn't really know what I was doing. Again, this is like another derivative of that other sketch, trying to figure out kind of making his head a little bit more unique. Because I know a lot of One Piece characters, they don't really follow conventional kind of like anime proportions. Do they? You know, One Piece characters are all over the place. You got your standard kind of humans like Luffy, and you got your weird characters like Frankie, who have this massive upper body, and then these like tiny legs and these mecha parts to him. And he's inexplicably got this like robotic nose, which I think looks pretty cool. So I just want to experiment here. But if I show you the final design that I kind of like came up with, here's like the final design that I came up with, which I think is really cool. I'll just show you the sketch that I have as well. So this is kind of like the final sketch that I arrived at. It's pretty messy. I kind of shifted my opinion, like my idea, away from like the kind of like oil American like Texan billionaire, and more towards like this rough, gruff kind of like 1930s, 1920s British kind of like mobster, which I think is a really cool aesthetic. And I wanted, at this point, I decided that I knew I wanted him to be a giant. But I didn't want him to be like a true giant, so I thought, what if he's like a half giant? A true kind of one of the only documented cases in One Piece history of a true fusion between a human and a giant, and he'll be a half giant, so he'll be quite large. So I like the fact that he looks quite big. I like that he's got this bowler hat on there that looks pretty cool. I don't think I've seen any characters in the One Piece world with bowler hats. I know there's like top hats and other weird kind of like hats and stuff, but I don't think I've seen any characters with a bowler hat. And he's got like this bow tie, so he's got a little bit of class. He's got like these big, what do you call them, suspenders, and this holding up his big like pinstripe pants and this big shirt that he's got. He's got these big meaty hands. He can, you know, if he grabbed you with his hand, he would crush your skull just with his physical strength alone. And he's got these like nice polished kind of like shoes here, which I think looks pretty cool. So I really do genuinely like his design. For his pose, I didn't really know what to do. I just went something really simple. I got if you can tell by his name, Black Oil Blake. I actually even figured out his devil fruit, which is the oil fruit. So his hand here is literally just melting and forming and dripping and turning into pure crude oil, which I think is pretty epic. I think it's pretty cool. I think he's a pretty unique character. I don't think he looks anything like any other character I've seen in One Piece. I've even given him like a matchstick to chew on, which will be pretty cool for his powers later on when I talk about them. But yeah, what do you think of this final kind of like sketch here? I know I showed the final design in the intro, but I always like to go back and show you my sketches and show you my process and kind of show you how it's evolved and how my ideas evolve and stuff like that. So what do you think of this sketch? Do you think I could have done anything else to make it a little bit more unique? Or what else could I have done to make it a little bit more One Piece-esque? What would you have given him? Would you have given him like a different outfit? Maybe a devil fruit? Let me know. But yeah, if I show you the final design, again, I really like this final design. I struggled back and forth with the colours a bit. I didn't really know what to give him actually. So I just kind of like picked colours from other characters, mainly Luffy actually. I feel like some of the colours like the browns and the reds and the skin tone and stuff like that. But I really like the way that his all of his colours play together, his stature, his size, you know. I really also like the way that the colours play with this paper texture here that I've got at the bottom. It's this noisy, grainy paper texture that I actually saw from I can't remember what his name is. Kyle Webster, that's it. Kyle Webster on Twitter. I'll leave a link in the description so you can get this for yourself. It's free, and I thought I'd give it a go. I'll give it a try, see what it looks like. And I really enjoyed it. I really liked the way that it looked, and having the colours overlaid on top of it adds this kind of like effect as if I've coloured him with like markers or Copic markers, which I think is a pretty cool effect. I love the way that his oil, kind of like his hand turning into oil, looks like. He's got these like reflections, and you know his hand is just melting into just pure crude oil. You know, like on his face, it looks pretty cool. Like again, it's been coloured with markers, and they all just play really well with each other. And I'm pretty happy with this final design. Let me know what you think of these final colours. I think it looks cool. I even had like this pinstripey effect to his t-shirt, or his shirt anyway, which I think looks really cool. I like how rough and also kind of like polished it also looks at the same time. I really like it. I did do a side view here as well, which I think looks cool. You know, even his skin here looks a little bit oily. I'm really happy with how this design has turned out. I think he looks really cool. Maybe could have done this side view a little bit better. Maybe could have done like him wearing his hat from the side as well. But I might do that as well, you know. But I really like his design. I'm really happy with it. Again, I feel like he could actually be in the world of One Piece. Like he could even like have his own crew. But he's the second member of the Goldielock Pirates. I even went like a step up as well, since I thought, well, while I'm designing him, I might as well give him a bunch of other stuff. So if I just had this side view, I even actually designed his devil fruit here. Yep, this is the oil fruit. So I thought, from now on, I think when I'm doing these characters for the crew, I'm going to kind of like do a side view, a full body view, maybe a 3/4 view if I can do that. Like if I want to get the video a little bit early, I'll just leave it out, or if I want leave it a little bit longer, I'll do that. If they have a devil fruit, I'll design their devil fruit. If they have like a zone type devil fruit, I'll show like, and I'll design all the different kind of like stages from kind of like only partial transformation to full transformation. I think that'd be really cool. And the actual devil fruit itself, maybe I could have done another one where there's like a bite out of it, maybe to show the interior of the devil fruit, maybe. But yeah, I'm really happy with the way that his devil fruit has turned out. You know, I didn't go too crazy with it. You know, it's got some weird colours like these brownish reddish leaves and this bluish purple colour for the main body of the fruit, and then like this drippy pattern which, you know, alludes to him having oil powers. But yeah, I really like this, and I even did something else as well which I really wish I'd done last time, but I didn't know how to structure these videos, so I think this is what I'm going to do from now on. I'm going to create a wanted poster for each of the members. I just got like a basic blank wanted poster off of Google, and then kind of like drew on top of it, or drew in this square, and I'm really happy the way he looks in this poster. It looks like one of the One Piece posters, and it'll be really nice when all of them are lined up for all of the members, however many I end up doing. Maybe I'll do like 5 or 6 members, maybe 10 members, I don't know. Maybe like kind of try and catch up with all the One Piece crew, maybe make them all kind of unique and have their own unique roles and stuff like that. But I'm really happy with how this wanted poster turned out. I think it looks really cool. I think it looks like someone's just, you know, took a snapshot of him, and he's just noticed them, and probably after they didn't live after getting caught. But yeah, I really like the way this looks. So I think this is the kind of like way I'm going to go about doing these videos now. I'm going to be doing kind of like I said, a side view, a front view, design them if a devil fruit if they have it, or if they have like a prop, like a weapon or something, I'll create a prop for that as well, so I can show you the prop as well. And then I'll create them their own wanted poster. I might go back and actually touch up the Captain Goldielock, and then I'll like make him a wanted poster as well. I think that'd be really cool. I just think the idea of having all of them being lined up would look really cool. But this is the first one that I did it for, and I thought the extra time was well worth it. Like going to actually create this, I think it's well worth it. So yeah, what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think of his design, like his wanted poster, his devil fruit, stuff like that. Do you think, maybe I could have made the devil fruit look a little bit more unique? Maybe you should have changed, the picture in the wanted poster, make it a little bit more dynamic, maybe. I don't know. Let me know. So why don't I move on to his lore now? I'll tell you his lore from his birth to current, and yeah, so I'll tell you that right now. Okay, so let's move on to his lore now. So his name is Walton Chevron Blake. I picked his middle name to be Chevron because I actually, when I was googling kind of like oil and crude oil and stuff like that, I was googling like oil companies, like massive oil companies in America, and one of them was called Chevron, and I thought that's a pretty cool name actually. I'll just kind of like pinch that and use that for his middle name. So I think Walton Chevron Blake is a pretty cool name. Again, better known as Black Oil Blake, and I think that's a pretty cool nickname, especially since it combines his devil fruit, kind of like with his name. Kind of how Luffy's known as Straw Hat Luffy, because his straw hat is very iconic to him. And so for Blake here, his iconic thing is him being a Logi type user. He has oil power, so Black Oil Blake is pretty cool. So as I said before, he was born to a giant and a human. One of the only recently documented cases of this ever happening in the world. And he didn't even know about his heritage. Like, he didn't even know that he was even part giant until he was 10 years old. Him not really knowing about his heritage is pretty interesting. I think most characters don't really know who their parents are. Look at Zoro. He doesn't know who any of his parents are. I don't think. Oh, we don't know anything about him, like and his parents and stuff like that. So I think that's a pretty cool detail. Currently, he stands at a whopping 10 feet 10 inches. That is freaking huge. He is just slightly bigger than Big Mom. I believe that Big Mom is around about 8 foot tall, but then again, she's just she's a very large human. Big Mom isn't actually part giant at all. She's just very, very, very big. But with Blake here being actually part giant, but also part human, he isn't a true giant. So I believe I googled how tall and how big true giants were in the One Piece world, and they can get up to big as 12 feet, and that's freaking huge. So I think 10 feet 10 inches is pretty big, but not too big. He's bigger than most characters in the world, so he can exert like his huge size and his force over other characters, but he's not like too big, you know what I mean? So basically, he had a very brief period in his early stages of being born, living in the actual country, the giant country of Elbaf. Kind of like where Big Mom grew up and stuff like that. But it was too early for him to remember anything or meet anyone really. And him and his mother never really stayed too long in any one place, because obviously, as you know, the world government loves to experiment and create human experimentation, and they had those weird failed experiments with giant children, I believe, in some of the episodes of One Piece. Remind me on that in the comments. But yeah, he's one of the only true members, like a true fusion of human and giant. So maybe his mother was kind of like Big Mom, where she was a giant kind of like woman, maybe, a giant, a very large human, because that is an actual race in One Piece. You've got humans and you've got large humans and you've got giants. So maybe she was just a large human. I don't know. I like leaving it open-ended, so you can think about that if you want. But again, due to him and his mother being hunted by the world government for experimentation, they never really stayed very long in one place. So they were in Elbaf for a very short period of time, so maybe like a year, maybe, or less, maybe half a year, and then they had to move on, because obviously the world government has a lot of eyes everywhere, and they obviously would have eyes in Elbaf somewhere. So, they couldn't really stay very long, because if they were captured, his mother would probably be killed and he would be horribly experimented on. So eventually they found some refuge in the Goa Kingdom, and if you remember what the Goa Kingdom is, that's the place where Sabo grew up, like with the Great Terminal and stuff like that. So unfortunately, due to the treatment and class separation in the Goa Kingdom, his mother was very poorly treated, as they came there with basically nothing. So they were pretty much among the lowest of the low, the lowest of the classes, basically having no rights. So she was never really able to keep a job for very long due to her being quite a large woman. Maybe she couldn't fit in certain buildings, go certain places, discriminated against for her giant size, stuff like that. But she never really fought back. I think I like to think she's quite a passive woman. But due to this, she was literally worked to death. She always worked, had very, very little time for Walton here, and she eventually ended up actually working herself to death, which is kind of sad, but I imagine this is what would happen. So her impact of her death weighed very, very heavily on him, and this caused him to become very bitter, very angry, and it caused him to shift his objective to, instead of just living, to his goal is to make as much money as possible, bleed this world dry for its money. He wants to become the most influential, the most rich, the most kind of like influential person in the One Piece world. He wants to have as much money as possible, so he'll never go hungry or thirsty ever again. He'll never be starving ever again. He'll always have enough money for anything he wants. So he literally made that his one goal. So basically what he did is he bounced around small time jobs. Again, this is about the time when he started to grow quite large. I would say he would probably be around about 6 or 7 feet tall at this point, maybe slightly less. So he bounced around some small time jobs and eventually ended up joining a gang located in the Great Terminal. But he kind of got tired of being told what to do, and because he was like literally the biggest person there, their big muscle, he just kind of thought to just take it over, and he ended up just killing the previous leader in the process. And because he had the most physical strength at the time, none of the other members could really do anything about it. And it was a dispute between 2 gang members, and he just happened to win and kill the other one, and he took over the gang. He then essentially wanted to transform the group. He turned the gang into a fearsome, coordinated group dealing with stealing from the rich, because he hated the rich. He hated growing up not having enough money. Why did his mother have to work? Why did they have to be treated differently? He also got into illegal weapons trading, stealing and then taking weapons from other people as they're coming to into the ports of the Goa Kingdom, as well as the distribution of illegal alcohol. Really, really dangerous amounts of alcohol that they would just sell to maybe addicts or drunks, and they would gain a lot of money. And he would actually made quite a lot of money, pretty much all the time now. Getting this a lot of revenue from all these different sources, making him quite rich, including other kind of like nefarious methods of making as much money as fast as possible. So he was quickly becoming one of the most rich people actually in the Goa Kingdom, even though he's actually not from there. After that, he shifted his sights on traveling. He kind of really hated just sticking around in one place for very long. He wanted to travel, but he didn't have a ship. So he wanted to set his sights for rare items to sell. He knew that there was a lot of rare items out there that people would pay big money for, and one of them was being devil fruits. He knew that people would pay big money for power. It doesn't matter what the devil fruit was, even if it was shit, right? Like, you get, like, I don't know, the soap fruit or something. That sounds boring. I believe there was one character in One Piece that has that, but, regardless, he didn't care what it was. He just wanted a massive hoard of them, and he could sell it for the highest price. People would pay big money for power. And so, what he did is he bought a ship. He literally just bought a ship, which probably didn't make any dent in his funds. Excuse me. And he travelled outside of the Goa Kingdom. At this point, the Marines were looking for him quite frequently, but he was always just too powerful for the Marines that they sent to go and capture him. And so his bounty started actually racking up. But by this point, he'd sailed away from the Goat Kingdom. He had a bunch of his gang members with him that knew how to sail, and he started bouncing around different islands. He would just go around various small islands, docking and then pillaging and taking whatever he wanted, which included devil fruits. And eventually he found one that he particularly liked the look of, and he ended up finding the oil fruit, leading him to be known as Black Oil Blake. Like previously, he didn't have a devil fruit, so he was just very physically strong due to his giant heritage, and he was just known as Walton Blake on his poster. But after he got his oil fruit, and it became a little bit more influential and a little bit more way more powerful, he got the nickname Black Oil Blake because of the dark black oil that he would secrete and basically suffocate people. So during this time, he was also in contact with our marine turned pirate captain, Goldielock, which is our captain, if you remember from last time. During this time, they'd been in a year-long business contract buying and selling stolen marine weapons, which, as we know from last time, Goldielock was fed up with how the Marines were treating him, and he hated the very, very little pay that he got, and so he wanted to create more money by buying and selling stolen marine weapons, and so he was in this year-long contract with Walton Blake, Black Oil Blake, and eventually they ended up becoming quite good friends, actually, meeting up during that year, which is also the same year that he decided to escape from Marineford and set out to become a pirate. And so they became quite good friends during that time, and ultimately Goldielock's charisma and his desire to be pirate king and his desire to create as much money and, you know, to bleed this world dry and to become as free as possible convinced Blake that to follow him. He convinced him to follow him, becoming the second member of the Goldielock Pirates. So as I said at the beginning of the video, his role is the financer. He's the counting and collecting of the money they make, along with being in charge of spending the money for food and repairs, as well as establishing key contacts for even more money. And now that he actually has the oil fruit, I thought that he could actually bottle his oil and then sell that to other people for fuel or whatever. As fuel, and so they'll be making even more money. So not only is he making more money from the buying and selling of rare items and especially devil fruits that they can be doing, but he's also getting still revenue from the other sources of money that he was making as well. And during his time he's gotten a lot of really key contacts, so they can just contact for favors or escape or items or repairs to the ship or something that Goldielock actually stole, and maybe they can spend some money on renovating this stolen marine ship, which I eventually want to get round to actually designing their ship as well. So I think that'd be really cool. And finally, some of his notable attacks using his oil fruit is including a move called Flaming Fist. I imagine maybe he's come across Fire Fist Ace at some point and got inspired by him to create Flaming Fist. What he does is basically coats his fist in his oil, and then he lights it on fire with the matchsticks that he chews, which is pretty cool because that's in his character design. And so what he can do is he can just literally light his match from his shaved kind of beard, which would be quite rough and coarse, and then he can kind of set his fist on fire, and then he can start hitting people and setting them on fire as the flaming kind of burning oil would attach to them, and then they would be on fire, and then maybe they knock into somebody else, and then they're on fire, and then maybe they fall on the floor, and then the floor is just covered in oil, and all of that is just burning up. And it's a pretty cool kind of move to create a chain reaction to burn everything. Other attacks are when he can create oil clones, basically just creating oil clones of himself that he can again just light on fire, and then he can just run at people and just burn as much stuff as possible. There's also Oil Slick, where he can just produce a lot of oil to trip up enemies or to trap kind of ships or stuff like that. I mentioned if he jumped in the air and he shot a bunch of oil or oil bombs or whatever at a marine ship or something, and then he can just kind of set that on fire, or even just coating the marines in the oil will cause them to breathe in the horrible fumes or their skin to start burning. As I did do a lot of research for this, and if you get oil on yourself, like especially stuff like crude oil, that can actually burn your skin. So that is not good for them, but very good for him. So oil slick is a pretty cool move, and then there's stuff like oil Molotov, which is basically those bottles that he can fill up with his oil that he sells as fuel. Well, he can actually just again set them on fire and throw them as these like oily Molotovs that will just explode and erupt in flames, which is pretty cool. Again, trying to go back to that kind of like British mobster kind of thing. He's very brutal in his methods. He's not very graceful at all, which is pretty funny. And so he's pretty efficient in armament hacky as well. So him being a Logi type Devil Fruit user, hacky members have a way to actually hurt him. But if he's pretty proficient in hacky himself, he is kind of protected from their attacks as well. And then his Devil Fruit is also awakened. Him having a lot of experience of using it and attacking people and fending off marines and stuff like that, he has eventually awakened his Devil Fruit, so he can like literally turn the walls, the floors, everywhere into oil. And then again, him having just like boxes of matches in his pocket, or like having a matchstick always that he's chewing on in his mouth, he can just set that on fire and literally just set a whole town erupting in flames, turning it into oil. And a secondary effect of actually him burning the oil, not only does it cause secondary burning effect, but also if you breathe in fumes created by burning oil, this is again going back to my research, you'll be breathing in carbon dioxide, and if you have nowhere to escape, so if you're literally stuck in a town that's being slowly turned into just pure oil and set on fire, after a while you're just going to suffocate from the fumes. So he has some pretty brutal ways and methods of dealing with some of his enemies. But yeah, that's Walton Chevron Blake, also known as Black Oil Blake. What do you think of the character? What do you think of his design, my initial sketches, his wanted poster, his Devil Fruit abilities, his backstory? What do you think? Do you think I could have added a little bit more, maybe added a little bit less? What would you add? What kind of other abilities do you think that he could use with his oil? There's literally endless ideas that you could do for him. What do you think about him being half giant as well? I think that's pretty interesting. Like I said, no other character, I believe, in the One Piece world is actually half giant or like a true fusion of human and giant. And so he's kind of like a very unique character. And what do you think of his kind of like his British mobster aesthetic? Yeah, so that's all I've got really time for today. But thank you if you did watch to the end of the video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Let's get a lot of likes, and part 3 will come out. I don't know what kind of character I will add next to the Goldielock Pirates, but leave your suggestions down below. Message me on Twitter, Instagram, whatever you want. If you've got an idea for a character you think that'd be really cool to add to the crew, let me know. But yeah, let's get a lot of likes on this, and part 3 will be coming out whenever I can, when I get this done. So thank you for watching, and bye! See you next time! Hey there, thanks for watching. If you like what you see, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share my work around. I'll see you next time!